Good morning and welcome to today's Partner Academy on Air. My name is John Michael Durkin. I'm a global product lead here on the AdWords Interfaces team at Google. Today we're going to be talking about the new AdWords Experience. If this is your first time joining Partner Academy, thank you so much for joining us. I would recommend you go back to last week's recorded video and check it out. We walked through all of the navigation precepts for the new AdWords Experience and answered quite a lot of cool questions from the audiences. Just a reminder, today's session is live, so if you follow along with us and type questions into the stream, we'll be sure to answer those at the end. So today, we're going to get started with a short introduction to the new AdWords Experience. We did cover some of this content last week, but in case there's anybody new on the stream today, I want to make sure that we just recover it. I mentioned last week that we were going to talk about manager accounts today. That was an area that I'd wanted to cover last week, but didn't quite have time to. So we're actually going to dive into the manager accounts and talk about some of the navigation changes that have happened there, as well as some of the new features that are in the manager accounts. We're going to dive into a couple of exclusive features that are available only in the new AdWords Experience. These are features that you won't find in the previous UI, and they're one of the great reasons to switch early and get acquainted with the new UI. We're going to wrap up with what's moved, and we're going to talk about where those things have moved to. And my goal with that part of the session is just to recover, again, some of the places that might be a little bit trickier to find in the new UI, some things that might be hidden under three-dot menus or under different menus than you would expect. So we're going to go through those things and make sure that you have a really solid understanding for where everything is. And then, as I mentioned, this is a live session, so we'll be taking questions from you at the end. Feel free to add those questions in. My wonderful team here is going to get those questions to me, and then we'll go through them all. So let's go ahead and talk about the new AdWords Experience. As I mentioned last time, we've spent the better part of the last couple years building out a new experience that's fast, modern, and visually intuitive. The idea being that we want to make AdWords easier for you to use and more focused on your business's objectives. So we focused during that time on creating and improving campaigns. We focused on finding ways to save time in common workflows so that you can get more done faster with the same access to the commonly used tools you use today. And we've also made it easier to gain actionable insights with new graphs and powerful campaign reporting tools. A note on switching between the two interfaces, because for a time you're going to be using both the previous AdWords UI and the new AdWords UI. The new AdWords UI is relatively easy to actually try out. When you log into your account, some of you might see the new AdWords UI by default. Some of you might see a small blue bar in the lower right-hand corner, giving you the option to actually try the new AdWords Experience. In some instances, you might have dismissed this blue bar. If so, that's okay. You can still get there by clicking the gear icon in the upper right-hand corner and choosing to launch into the new AdWords Experience. Just a reminder here, the new UI is a UI refresh. There's no changes to the API or AdWords editor, so the functionality of those tools should remain the same. And once you're in the new UI, if you find that you need to get back to the previous UI, maybe you find that there's a feature that hasn't quite launched in the new experience yet. Maybe you find that you're just a little bit more comfortable still in the previous UI. That's okay. You can get back very easily by clicking on the three-dot menu in the upper right-hand corner of the new UI and choosing Return to the previous AdWords. A quick note on availability. We do plan to make the new experience available to all advertisers over the course of 2017. I mentioned a couple seconds ago, the new experience does not impact ad serving, the API, or AdWords editor. So if you're using those tools, you can continue to use them as you always have. And the invites for the new experience are being sent based on a number of factors, including the features that you use and the features that are available in the new experience. We're doing our best to make sure that we roll out in a way that is safe and comfortable for you. Some accounts will be automatically in the new experience on login. Others will just receive the option to try in the lower right-hand corner. And again, throughout the rollout, you can easily switch between the two experiences. Please feel free to. My goal with this is to make sure that you feel comfortable diving in early and getting your hands around the new UI. But again, if you need to switch back, please do. And the new UI is still a beta feature. We're working on it actively. We're rolling out new features all the time. If you watched our session last week, you actually got to see some new features rolling out while we were on the Partner Academy on air. So please give us your feedback. Underneath the help icon in the upper right-hand corner, you'll actually find a leave feedback option. This will allow you to type in any comments that you might have. feel free to be candid with that feedback. Tell us what we're doing well, and tell us where we can continue to improve. All right, so with that, we're going to dive into our actual live demo. We're going to start with manager accounts like I mentioned, and just a note again, we are doing this live, so sometimes the internet might be a little bit slow in loading time. I would just ask you guys to be patient with us during that time. So with that, we should switch over here to our demo. All right, now this is just a demo manager account, and there's not a ton of data in it, but we're going to do our best to kind of walk through the account and make sure that everything is comfortable. You'll notice when you log into the manager account that you land on the overviews page. We talked a little bit about the overviews page last week. It's a high-level dashboard for you to view and understand what's going on within your accounts, your campaigns, your ad groups. It is scoped to whatever level you're at within the new UI. So you can see here that we can see our high-level metrics across all of our accounts. And in this case, our manager account only has 2 accounts. You can see that on the left nav bar here. And you can see and understand things like CTR, impressions, CPC, cost. You can modify all of these metrics. When necessary, you can hide the metrics. Sorry, I misclicked there. When necessary, you can hide the metrics if it's a little bit too crowded for you, just by clicking on them. They'll disappear. And you'll also notice that the insights cards below are keyed in around the accounts in the manager, rather than the individual campaigns or ad groups that we saw last week during our session. So here you can see and understand at a high level how much spend is going on in the accounts, how many clicks, the CTR, and again, all of these metrics are changeable and sortable from high to low and low to high. Let's take a step back and talk about the overall navigation of the manager. The new UI manager accounts share the same navigational precepts that we chatted about during our last session. So on the left-hand side, you have what we call the navigation bar. In the center, we have our gray page menu. And on our right-hand side, we have all of our campaign management functionality. In the upper right-hand corner, we have our reporting tab, which we're going to talk about here shortly. And we have our 3-dot menu, which will show us all of the tools that are available to us in the manager accounts. Just a quick reminder, again, you have the help icon here, where you can go and get guided steps through the account the first time that you log in. And you can also leave feedback for us. All right, so let's actually take a look at some of these pages on the left-hand side here. We talked about overviews already. Opportunities are a new and exclusive feature in manager accounts. You'll see here that we actually don't have any opportunities available to us. Again, these are demo accounts with relatively low spend, so the system isn't surfacing any recommended opportunities. But in your own manager accounts, you'll find that all of the opportunities from your child accounts have been rolled up. And the neat thing about this is that you can choose to implement those opportunities at bulk. So for instance, if you have structured snippets and you want to apply that to multiple campaigns across different accounts, you can do that easily from here. You can also download all of the opportunities into a CSV and send those out to your account managers or to your clients, depending on how you want to share things. You'll notice that some of the tabs that were in the previous AdWords are missing at a first glance on the page menu. They're not actually missing. You can see here when we dive into the accounts page within the manager accounts, the tabs become available to us. So we have the performance tab, which gives us a high-level overview in a tabular version of how our accounts are performing. And here we can filter things that are either directly linked or linked to everything if you have sub-managers. You'll notice that we have a management tab where we can come and link or create new accounts. And these flows work much as they did in the previous experience. And you'll notice that we also have our budgets page where we can go to view the billing accounts, the payment profiles, understand start dates and end dates, and how everything is going on the billing front. The campaigns page is also a way for us to see all of the campaigns in the manager account at scale. So again, here we can see the different campaigns and the accounts that they're coming from, how they're doing and how they're performing. And all of these things are changeable and hideable. So if you find that the new UI is a little bit too crowded for your screen, remember that you can always hide charts and you can hide the navigation menu just by clicking under the 3-dot menu in the tables or by clicking on the arrow in the upper left-hand corner. One neat feature that I want to just share with you inside of the manager accounts is the ability to convert currencies. So within the account right now, you can see that my primary metric, if you saw it on the overviews page, is actually in euros. The accounts themselves, though, are in US dollars. So you can see here that cost is expressed as a function of dollars overall. And then within the manager account, it's summed as euros, or summarized as euros. Now, in the previous experience, it was impossible to actually convert and understand the cost of the different accounts in euros. So you can see here that JM account spent 287 and Jose account spent 2100 over this course of about 3 years. In the new experience, you can actually convert the currencies to be the same as the parent currency of the manager itself. So again, in this case, we can convert these dollar amounts to euros. And we can do that just by clicking on this little icon that looks like 2 squares layered over top. When we do that, you'll see that we can apply a converted currency. And the currencies of the accounts will actually change over into the parent manager account's currency. So you can now see that in order to get to that 2100 euros number, we can understand how JM account and Jose account did this conversion. And there are a couple nuances on the currency conversion and how it works. I don't want to dive too deeply into them, but at a high level, we're using a month-long period of average currency conversion to actually calculate and understand the number. I believe that if you need more information here, you can check out the AdWords Help Center, where that information should be available to you. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them throughout the presentation, and we'll go back and try and answer those at the end if possible. Now, the last thing that I want to show you in the manager accounts is the report editor and predefined reports. So I mentioned at the top that we have this reports button at the top menu. You'll remember that inside of child accounts in AdWords, you historically had a tab called Dimensions. Dimensions was full of some predefined reports, things like geographic reports, time reports, those kinds of things. We've gotten rid of that Dimensions tab, and we've moved it into the reporting menu here in the upper right-hand corner. We've also made reports available to manager accounts so that we can actually report on individual child accounts or multiple child accounts within the manager account. So let's take a look at some of those predefined reports. You'll notice as we hover over here, we get a menu of options. You can see there are things like basic reports, the accounts, campaigns, ad groups, etc. You can see there are time reports, conversion reports, label reports, geo reports. And you can also see that we've moved some of the actual specific extension report types and display report types here as well, whereas these might have historically lived inside of the display tab within the previous AdWords experience. Now, just to kind of make a quick and easy report here, I'm going to choose a geographic report and just try to understand where the ads have shown inside the accounts that are within this manager. So we talked about the report editor a little bit last time. The report editor allows us to build quick pivot charts and also visualize the data in ways that are new and interesting. Now, you can see here that we're actually viewing all accounts. So the minute this geographic report loaded, it's automatically defaulting to show us the geographic data for all of the accounts. When we show for all accounts right now within the new AdWords experience, you'll notice that we're just showcasing a preview of the report. If we were comfortable with the metrics that were shown on the report here, we could download this into a CSV or into an Excel file or whatever type of format we feel comfortable with. And that report is no longer going to be a preview. It's actually going to be the data for all of the accounts. But in instances like this, it's a little bit tricky for us to showcase all of the combined and joined data together right now. And so it's just a preview, simple preview. Now again, within the report editor, we can take out any of these metrics that we don't care about. Neither of these accounts have conversions, so we're going to drop those out. And you'll notice that in the preview, they should disappear. If we had scrolled over to see them, they should disappear. Let's talk about the account picker. So when we choose this edit button at the upper right-hand corner, you can see that we'll have the ability to select particular accounts. In this case, we can also choose account labels. So if we have labeled our accounts to differentiate them, then we can see and understand the labels easily and filter based on those. I'll just do a quick report here using the Jose account. We'll save it. And you'll notice that what was previously a preview is now live data. And again, this is because we went back to a single account view. nice and easy to understand. But let's actually go back to both accounts and try to visualize the data. So right now it's in a table. A table is fairly cool, but I want to see a bar chart of the information available to us. And we'll just choose country/territory, and we'll do clicks and impressions just to see where we're doing and how we're doing. Again, you'll notice here we've just loaded a preview. And so to see this data fully, we would need to either change to one account or download the report into a CSV or whatever file format you work with. And finally, the same filters apply here as do to the normal report editor, with one particular exception, which is that you can also, on the tabular version, filter out accounts that you don't want to see through the account picker. So again, all the same functionality from the report editor, fairly easy to use, and in my opinion, one of the coolest new features in the new AdWords experience. Note that this was built from a predefined report, but of course you can build a report from scratch using report editor from the get-go. Okay, very cool. So with that, we're going to hop back over to our presentation, and we're going to talk about some of the new exclusive features. As we talk about these exclusive features, we're going to dive in and out of the demo again, so this might be a little bit hard to track on. I would appreciate your patience with it. So the first exclusive feature that we're going to talk about are Showcase Shopping Ads. Showcase Shopping Ads are a brand new shopping ad format that allow you to engage users earlier in the purchase journey when they're just discovering what to buy and where to buy it. And in this instance, by curating the product images that appear in the ad, you can actually showcase a collection of products that give shoppers a taste of your brand and your products. Just a quick high-level caveat on these exclusive features. They are limited in certain countries. So Showcase Shopping Ads are available in the US, UK, Germany, France, Australia, Canada, and India. They should be available, though, to anybody in those countries who has access to the new AdWords experience. And again, if you're watching today and for whatever reason don't have access to the new AdWords experience in one or all of your accounts that you manage, note that we are doing our best to get the experience out to you by the end of 2017, and we're doing our best to roll it out as rapidly as possible. So let's jump back over into our demo account, and I'm going to run you through how you would go about actually creating one of these Showcase shopping campaigns. And as we do it, I'll talk a little bit about some of the best practices. But again, I just want to caveat this with I'm no expert on a lot of these products. I focus a lot on the AdWords interface, and I tried my best here to connect with all of the different product leads for these products and make sure that the information we're giving you today is good and actionable. So I just jumped from the MCC account into the JM account. This is my child account within the manager account. Just one last note here, if we wanted to switch back up to the manager account, we could do that on the left-hand nav bar, or we can do it just by clicking JMMCC here in the top navigation bar. But we won't do that. We want to build a Showcase shopping ad. It's a fairly easy affair, so let's navigate to the campaigns page. And we'll go to our shopping campaign test. And you'll notice that my page has timed out, so we'll just give it a quick refresh. Now, a couple quick notes on the Showcase shopping ads. For these ads to work really well, you want to aim to have more than 1,000 active products per ad group to generate traffic on as many queries as possible. I do apologize here. There we go. All right. So within our shopping campaign test here, we're going to go ahead and just create a new ad group. Once we click on the new ad group button, we should have the option to create either a regular shopping ad group or a Showcase shopping ad group. And again, the product shopping ads that you see here are the same standard shopping ads that we've had historically, and the new Showcase shopping ads then are that new format that we just showcased in the presentation. So we'll click on Showcase shopping ad, and we'll just call this ad group Showcase shopping ads. Now, one cool thing to note about these Showcase shopping ads is that they are cost per engagement bidding. So cost per engagement is basically the idea that a customer needs to see and engage with the ad in order for you to be billed. And in this case, you're only charged for an engagement when somebody expands your Showcase shopping ad and then spends 10 seconds within the ad or clicks on a link within the ad. If somebody expands, maybe looks at it for 1 or 2 seconds and then closes the ad, then you wouldn't be billed. We'll just put in a standard bid here, about $1. And you'll notice here that we can also choose the products to promote in our ad, either all of the products from your campaign or a selection of products using the same different product filters that you've had in the past. Things like category, brand, item ID, condition, product type, etc. We'll just leave it as all products in this case. Again, the best practice is to aim to have about 1,000 active products per ad group to generate more traffic on more queries. If you don't have 1,000 products per ad group, these ads should still serve, just potentially at some limited capacity. Now, the Showcase shopping ads require a couple of different pieces of content from you. So you'll notice here that we have the option to upload a header image. And that header image needs to be 1080 pixels by 566 pixels, and either needs to be a JPEG or a PNG file. A couple of things or ideas around whether to use a header image or a product image. You'll notice here on the right-hand side that we have a collapsed ad on Google Search, and you can see I've kindly named my store Durkin's Emporium. And right now we're choosing to show our uploaded header image alongside 2 images of product data. We can also choose instead to show just product images, in which case you'll have 1 large product image and 2 small product images on the right-hand side. Now, you should choose a header image when you're targeting a small group of products and when the header image is actually relevant to all targeted products. You would choose to select a product image instead when you're advertising a very diverse set of products. And in that case, Google will actually match the image dynamically in order to help serve the best ad to the individuals that are querying. You have the same kind of standard options that you have in the rest of your ads. So you have the optional headline and an optional description. We would highly recommend that you input these things into the ads. Again, as with all things Google, the higher quality ad you have, the more engagement you're going to get, the better it's going to perform. So would highly recommend the headline and description, although these things are optional. And then you have your final URL and your display URL. So that's pretty much it for Showcase shopping ad setup. It's a fairly easy thing to understand. What I want to showcase before we jump back to our presentation are some of the key columns that you should be looking at to gauge and understand how the ad groups are performing. So we'll come back to the new AdWords experience, and we'll just click on our columns button here in order to modify the columns that we see inside of AdWords. There are a few ones that you want to add here because the primary bidding tactic for Showcase shopping ads is cost per engagement rather than cost per click or cost per acquisition. You can see we have average CPE, which is going to be the average CPE, the average cost per engagement. We have engagement rate, which is going to tell us how many times a user engaged with the ad, divided by the number of impressions that the ad showed. And then, of course, just the raw number of engagements to see. So we could apply those, and again, we'll see them appear in our table here on the right. Nice and easy. So hopping back to our presentation, again, these are just the high-level key reporting columns. Highly recommend you add those if you're going to use Shopping Showcase ads. I think Shopping Showcase ads are, again, a really great tool to use if you're trying to influence buyers when they're in the upper funnel, just starting to discover what to buy and where to buy it. Again, just to summarize, these are available in the US, UK, Germany, France, Australia, Canada, and India today, and they should be available to any advertiser that has access to the new AdWords experience that are in those countries. All right, switching gears a little bit away from the world of shopping, let's talk about phone calls. One of the cool new features that we're launching in the new AdWords experience are call bid adjustments. So the idea of call bid adjustments is to allow you to increase calls to your business without the risk of paying too much for a standard click. So these are a bid adjustment very similar to the idea of a device bid adjustment, a location bid adjustment, or an ad schedule bid adjustment, in that they layer on top of the base bid that you have. So for instance, a 20% bid adjustment on a $1 bid would be $1.20. So if calls are really important for you, these call bid adjustments allow you to drive more calls for your business, and I mentioned, allow you to drive them efficiently. So for these call bid adjustments, the bid adjustment is only activated in the instance that there's a call click. That means that if you're showing an ad that has a call extension on it, and the user clicks on the headline of the ad and goes to your website, you would still just pay for your regular bid in that case, not for the adjusted bid based on the call bid modifier or call bid adjustment. In the instance that you have call-only ads, of course, you will pay more, for every click that happens on the call because you don't have a headline available to you. And the really cool thing that this provides you is the control to actually manage the call impression share that you want with the new interaction coverage metric. So let's dive back over into our demo, and we're going to go to our bakery campaign. Again, I love bakery campaigns. Very easy to see and conceptualize: cakes, muffins, cookies, just delicious. There are two ways that we can add call bid adjustments. We'll start just by going to the Add Extensions tab, Ads and Extensions tab, and we'll click on the Extensions page. And we can actually add just a new extension here. And let's add a new call extension. You can see that when we go to add a call extension, a fresh call extension, we have the option to actually increase that call interaction bid adjustment as we're creating or adding this to our campaign. And again, we can increase or decrease, very similar to how we actually have always done this with location, ad schedule, and device bid adjustments. So that's one way. The other way is to go to the Advanced Bid Adjustment page in the page menu in the center of the screen. The Advanced Bid Adjustment page will always have or in the instance that you have call extensions or call-only campaigns, it'll always have the interaction type here for calls. You can see here that you can modify the bid adjustment accordingly, enter in that increased or decreased bid, and then see and understand what's going on with the interactions. Now, just as we had with our Showcase shopping ads, we also have a couple of key metrics and columns that you should keep in mind here. So let's go ahead and go back to our column picker. We'll add a couple of things. We're going to add interaction coverage, interaction rate. Those are the two that I'm most interested in. So interaction coverage is a percentage that indicates the number of times that your ad displayed a call button compared to the number of times that it was eligible to display a call button. You can imagine how low interaction coverage might lead to you increasing your call bid adjustment so that you can capitalize on that interaction coverage and get more calls for your business. The other one here, of course, is interaction rate, which again, just like our engagement rate, is a factor of the number of interactions that occurred based on the overall number of interactions that could have occurred. And that's pretty much it for call bid adjustments. So hopefully this clarifies. I've had a couple questions on what the difference is between device bid adjustments and call bid adjustments. And I do realize that terminology could be a little bit confusing, but hopefully you see and understand call bid adjustments are a way to increase calls, whereas device bid adjustments are about bidding on a particular type of device. And with that, we'll hop over back to our presentation and talk about one last new feature called Search Promotion Extensions. Now, many of you might have used Search Promotion Extensions over the last year or so. This was a feature that was in beta for some time in the previous AdWords experience, and it's now rolling out fully to all users of the new AdWords experience. Again, there are some country restrictions here. The list of countries is fairly long, so I'm not going to read it out online here. I believe if you go to the Help Center, you can find the countries that are eligible to use Search Promotion Extensions. So promotion extensions can help you add more value to your search network text ads by really highlighting the sales and promotions for people that are searching for the best deals your business has to offer. These promotion extensions are usually tied to specific dates, holidays, events, those kinds of things. And before we wrap up, we'll actually talk about what those dates are. But in the interim, let's pop back over to the demo, and I'll show you how to go ahead and add a search promotion extension. This one is potentially the easiest of all of the ones that we've done so far. Now, I forgot where the extensions page is. I'm still kind of new to the UI, so I'll use my keyboard shortcuts. If you remember, just by typing a question mark, you can see all your keyboard shortcuts. And I see that GX is go to extensions. So I'll type GX on my keyboard. Ah, perfect. Back to my bakery campaign. Now, we've got a great promo coming up for the holiday here in October with our cakes. And so what I want to do is put a promotion extension out for my Halloween cakes. So I'll just click the plus button and I will add a promotion extension. And I'm going to choose an occasion here from my drop-down list. I'll do Halloween cakes. I'm really into ghosts and goblins, so I'm going to give a % discount, say 20% off, on ghost and goblin cakes. Is that going to fit? Nope. Nope. We'll just do ghost cakes. Always check your character counts before you get on these guys. Goblin cakes. So you'll see here on the right-hand side, this is showing with my cupcakes ad group. Again, we would want to be a little bit more nuanced if we had ad groups that were cupcake-based versus cake-based. But you can see the promotion here says Halloween, 20% off goblin cakes. And we'll do google.com/goblin cakes. We can add additional details if we need to. So for instance, if this promotion is only available to people who buy a certain amount of money or who have a promotion code available, then we can do that. And we can set our start dates and end dates. Now each holiday has its dates that you do need to follow. So we'll show you those on the next slide, but again, they also exist in the Help Center. So if you need to reference them after this presentation, you can always go back and check them. So before we go back to the presentation and talk about what those dates are, I just want to talk through a couple high-level benefits here. I think previously, if you've had holiday-specific promotions, there's a high likelihood that you've been going in, modifying your ad text for every holiday, and kind of going through all those motions on a regular basis. For people that have seasonal and holiday-centric products, that's a huge pain. The really cool thing about these search promo extensions is that you can just go in and provide easy updates to those ads now. So for instance, if you're a cake shop, maybe you're going to have a Valentine's Day promotion, maybe you're going to have a Halloween promotion. Now you can just come in and manage those nice and easily. And you can also edit the extensions, without losing the data of the ads. So you're not going to be resetting your ad stats every single time you go in to put in a new offer. There's also flexible scheduling. So because you can modify the dates on which these are showing, you can actually select particular dates, days of the week, and times of the day for which your promotion extensions are eligible to show, and make those offers as robust and dynamic as they need to be to succeed. So let's really quickly hop back over and just look at the occasions for these promotions. You can see New Year's, Valentine's Day, Easter, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Labor Day. Back to school has a pretty huge period from June 1st to February 1st, or February 5th, yeah, February 1st. And then Halloween, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas, and Boxing Day. So a lot of the major holidays and a lot of the major shopping days, you can get your occasions on for promotions and really get your offers out there to everybody that's looking for your products. All right, we're going to do a quick bonus round and just talk about one or two more quick features in the UI. I don't have slides for these, so we're just going to dive back over to our demo and kind of walk through them. Two things, really. The first one is going to be something called Audience Manager. So you may be familiar with the idea of audiences within AdWords, the idea being remarketing campaigns, similar audiences. You might have audiences feeding in from different data sources. In the new AdWords experience, we've actually created a whole new Audience Manager to help you see and understand those audience sources and the audience list that you have available to you. So when you pop into that three-dot menu in the upper right-hand corner, sorry, I did that a little bit quickly, you actually see the Audience Manager is available to you within the account. The Audience Manager is also available within the Manager account. So it's a place where you can go and set up Manager remarketing list or Manager audience sources. And then, much like you could in the previous AdWords experience, you can share those lists across child accounts, campaigns within the account, etc. When we land on the Audience Manager page, you'll see that we can tweak or create our audience lists here very easily. So if we have linked accounts to YouTube, if we have GA accounts linked, Google Play linked, etc., we can create lists from those sources, and we can also use our standard remarketing pixel here. Kind of the same features as have always existed on the audience side exist here. The new addition to this page, and what I think is really cool, is the Audience Sources page, which gives you a really high-level view of how your audience sources are actually performing. So in this case, you can see that within my account, I have Google Analytics linked, AdWords linked, and an App Analytics link created. None of these are actually functional right now. I don't have a functional website where I'm running these things. But in the instance that I was, you would actually be able to see the number of tag hits that those tags have seen in the last 24 hours, the number of active parameters, and the number of lists that are in campaigns that are using these tags or relying on these tags. And if you click into details, you can go one layer deeper and actually understand how that those data are trending over time and exactly what they look like in terms of the parameters or the different pieces of the tag that you're actually using and relying on your website. Just note, this doesn't cover conversion tracking. So this is, again, the Audiences Sources tab. The idea being here that you can manage your audience sources a little bit more functionally and easily. So with that, there's one last place I want to go on the exclusive features, and it's actually not available in this account yet. So we're going to pop back over here to our manager account directory, and we're going to go over to the Jose account. Now, a cool new feature is this landing pages page within the new AdWords experience. The landing pages page is meant to give you a high-level overview of where all of your ads are directing to in the new UI. So you can see here, this account has 3 different landing pages, and we can see and understand how many clicks, impressions, CTR, average CPC cost, etc. for the different landing pages. And we can also see and understand our mobile-friendly click rate. Now, the idea of this mobile-friendly click rate is to give you the idea of the percentage of mobile clicks on the search network that are going to a mobile-friendly page from that landing page. So you can really use this to understand where the gaps are in your mobile-friendly strategy and get your website up to date. Just a reminder, with everything in the new UI, you can click on Learn More, and a helpful Help tab is going to pop out on the right-hand side to help you learn about the feature that you're looking at. So in this case, you can see and understand what's in the landing page and understand what's going on. Landing pages page is a mouthful, huh? Cool. All right, so hopping back over to our presentation, I would encourage you guys all to explore the new AdWords experience. There is a guided tour in your account. I showed this last time. You can feel free to trigger that at any point by clicking on the help icon and doing the guided account tour. The AdWords Help Center is ready for you now. It has up-to-date content with the new features that we're launching and a lot of the cool navigation features that I've talked about in the new AdWords experience overall. We have a best practices guide also available on that Help Center and a couple of how-to videos that are available presently with multiple language captions on them as needed. And then we've also got scaled learning platforms coming through our Academy for Ads e-learnings down the road. Let's go ahead and dive into our last topic before we get to some questions. We're going to talk about what's moved and where. This is going to be a little bit dry. I'm really just going to talk about what's moved and where it went and guide you in the account. That said, I think it's one of the most important things to getting comfortable in the UI is understanding what's missing versus what's just moved to a new location. So let's hop back over to our demo account. And the first thing that I'm going to share with you is something I've talked about a lot today. It's the reports. We have consolidated reports into that reporting tab in the upper right-hand corner. And so again, if you're looking for the dimensions tab, it does exist. It has simply been migrated to this upper right-hand corner and called predefined reports, formerly dimensions. Again, I think these are really useful and really easy to understand and navigate once you've gotten in there and actually played around a little bit. But I think it does require that hands-on learning and time to play with to really become proficient with these reports. Next, exactly to the right of that reporting icon is the 3-dot menu. This is the 3-dot tools menu. And you can see the 3-dot menu here contains all of the tools that you historically might have found in the gear icon or under the tool icon within the previous AdWords. So here we have on the left-hand side planning, which is keyword planner and ad preview and diagnosis. You have all of your shared library features, including that audience manager that we just talked about, portfolio bid strategies, negative keyword list, shared budgets, account placement exclusions, and placement exclusion lists. We have all of our bulk actions and automating functions, including rules, scripts, and uploads. We have all of our measurement functionality, including our conversions page, our Google Analytics if we have it linked, and our search attribution page, which is where we can see and understand things like cross-device assisted conversions, all those types of things. And then we have all of the account settings that you would have found under the account settings page in the previous AdWords experience. So billing and payments, business data that you have flowing into the account, linked accounts, preferences, and account access. Now, one of the main things, one of the harder things I think to find actually in the new UI is things like auto tagging. So auto tagging historically would have been in this account preferences page. You can see here if it loads, it's not there anymore. And the account preferences is now a little bit more focused on actual preferences within the account. So notifications, the name of the account, the time zone that it's in, the activity of the account or the status of the account, and the display language and number formats of the account. We've actually moved the auto tagging into account settings within the new experience. So you'll notice here I've clicked on all campaigns within the Jose account, and within the page menu I've clicked on settings. You'll see when I do that we have campaign settings, which allows us to easily see and visualize things like our ad rotation, our delivery method, our budgets, our bid strategy, etc. But we also have an account settings page. And this account settings page is where you're going to be able to find your auto tagging setup. And again, auto tagging is the idea that you want to tag the URL automatically when people click through so that you can understand what's going on whatever analytics tracking platform you're using. You can change the tracking template as needed if you're using a third-party tracking tool. And you can also manage your content exclusions. So these are account-level content exclusions. Being able to opt out of things like parked domains, things that are below the fold, or explicit content, depending on the types of campaigns that you're running. So you can enable these easily at the account level now. So for instance, if I did this, any display ads I'm running in the account will not show on parked domains within the Jose account. We talked a little bit about campaign types last time and things that had changed. And actually one of the questions that came up in our session was sort of around the elimination of SNDS campaigns or search network with display select campaigns. So let's talk through that. When we're on our campaigns page, we just click the plus button here to add a new campaign, and you'll see that we have simplified the campaign types that are available. So historically, you could select a search network campaign, you could select a search network with display select campaign, you could select a dynamic search ads campaign. There are many different types of campaigns that you could add. We've tried to simplify that, and I'm going to walk you through setting up a search network with display select campaign, a dynamic search ads campaign, and a call only campaign. So we click on search network. We'll go ahead and choose to not use goals for this campaign just to illustrate. And when we click on continue to go ahead and name our campaign, we'll just call this search network display select. And you can see here that we have the option to add display network to this campaign. Now, the question that popped up during our last session was, is this display opt-in the same as the search network with display campaigns were? And I did have the chance to go back to our product leads and clarify that yes, it is the same functionality as the search network with display select, just renamed and in a slightly different location than before. Let's go back to our campaigns page here and just create another campaign. And this time I'll show you how to actually create a call-only campaign, which is a campaign subtype that has disappeared in the new UI. In this case, we're going to choose to use goals. And what we're going to say is that we want to drive the action to call our business. And we'll put in google.com, and we'll put in a phone number here that will work. Now, in this case, we will actually have the optionality to do a call-only campaign. As you go through the rest of the campaign creation, you'll see that the ads that you can create are specific to call-only campaigns. I'm not going to go through it all because we only have about 15 minutes left, and I do want to get to questions. But that is how you would go about creating a call-only campaign. And then lastly, let's talk about a dynamic search ads campaign. Now in this case, we'll do search network only. Again, just for time's sake, I will not use goals or enter in any of this information, although I think in general we would recommend that you do enter in that information. And we'll call this a DSA campaign. As we scroll down, you'll notice, I'll just put in a budget here, and you'll notice that we have additional settings available to us. Now within the additional settings option, you'll see that there's a dynamic search ads functionality. And in the event that we have a product or are creating advertisements that would be good for dynamic search ads, we can go ahead and enable those dynamic search ads for the campaign, enter our domain here, and those ads will start to be created as they would normally. One last thing for those dynamic search ads, the auto target tab has actually been renamed to dynamic ad targets. So you'll see in this campaign where we have a dynamic ad group set up, you can see dynamic ad targets here. And you can go ahead and change dynamic ad targets, add negative dynamic ad targets, or do search terms reports, as you always could, just from that dynamic ad target menu. One last thing I just want to point out before we go to the Q&A is the ability to download tables and different pieces of information from the UI. So in this case, this account doesn't have any keywords that we can see. But if we did, within the table, we have a three-dot menu in the upper right-hand corner of the table where we can click on More Options, and we can choose to download those reports accordingly. And again, I don't have anything to download here, so it's not showing the option. But we would have the ability to choose what format we wanted it in, whether that's CSV, Excel, PDF, whatever format you feel comfortable in downloading. It should be available from this three-dot menu, nice and easy. And that's pretty much it. So with that, I would like to go to Q&A. If you want to head out at this time, if you don't have any questions, I would just thank you so much for your time. I've had a great time doing these two sessions, and I hope that they've been informational for you. If you have any questions, please reach out to us, let us know. We do want to help you and make this transition as smooth as possible. We're very excited about the new AdWords experience. We hope that you are too. But let's go ahead and pop over to questions. Just a few today, looks like just 5. The first question is there a proposed date to when the old AdWords interface will be going away? Presently, there is not a proposed date on the table for when the new AdWords interface will be going away. We'll keep you all posted as soon as we have finalized a date. I'm not sure when that will be, but for now, my best advice to you is dive into the new UI, give it a try, overcome some of that change aversion that I think everybody in the world feels whenever anybody rolls out a new UI or a new product. Give it a try. As somebody who has lived and breathed it for the last 7 months, I really love it. It's really hard for me to go back to the previous experience. Next question is new UI for MCC. When can we expect to start seeing that? So you should be seeing it now. Again, this is rolling out similarly to how we're rolling out to all of the accounts, all of the child accounts within the Google ecosystem. So we're slowly rolling out to manager accounts in the same way. Again, there are 2 ways that you could see this happening. Sometimes when you log into your manager account, you'll see the new experience automatically. Sometimes you'll log in and you'll see that blue bar in the lower right-hand corner giving you the option to try. But again, we are rolling it out now. You may start to see it over the coming weeks or months, and our goal is to roll out to everybody by the end of 2017. Can you customize the product shown in a showcase shopping ad, or will the ad automatically choose? So if you were watching closely when I went through this, and I would encourage you to just get in there and check it out or go back and watch that section of the video, you can customize the ad groups, the products that you're showing within the ad groups. So when you're creating an ad group, you have the option to either use all of the products within your account, or your product feed, or just specific types of products. And you can filter those based on the same types of filtering that you could use in historic shopping campaigns, things like category, brand, product ID, etc. So you could, in theory, very tightly group an ad group to just a few products. Again, as I mentioned a couple times during the presentation, our recommendation is to go a little bit more broadly. Make the ad groups and the product categories make sense for you and your products. Go broadly and try to make sure that you're using the showcase shopping ads as an exploratory feature. Again, the goal here is to educate people higher in the funnel and help them find out not only who they should be buying from, but also what they should actually be buying. There was a question last week, just to kind of bring it back up, on, let me find it here in my notes. Will we be able to see product names next to the bid placement field, or is it still item ID? I didn't cover this last week, but there is not a product name filter functionality in the new AdWords experience. It is still based on product ID, item ID. So again, that's a filter that you can use in those shopping ads. Would the best final URL for a Showcase shopping ad be the home page or the product category page? Again, I think this depends on how you're structuring your Showcase shopping ads campaign. So in the event that you're going very broadly and using all of the products, if you have a very wide array of products and you're relying on Google to dynamically, target those, then I think that the home page or the home of all of the product categories that you offer is probably going to be the best bet. In the instance that you are targeting a specific type of product, say a brand, maybe shoes, maybe summer dresses, as is the example GIF that we have in our presentation. In that event, you might target directly to the product category page rather than the home page. I would think to some extent this depends on how you've set up your campaigns, how you've structured your feed, and sort of what you're finding works best within your campaign performance. Next question is a layup. Has automated rules changed? The answer is no. And then finally, the last question today is, can we use promotion extensions outside of the pick list? So my understanding is that these promotion extensions are related specifically to the holidays and events that are specified on the AdWords Help Center and in the content that I just covered. I believe that if you try to create promotion extensions that are outside of those specific events, that the ads will be disapproved by our ads review team. So I would recommend against doing that. And I think that's it. I think those are all the questions. So with that, we'll wrap up. Again, I'll thank you all for your attendance. Please try out the new AdWords interface. Give us your feedback. Let us know where we've done a really great job and let us know where we can do better. I've really appreciated your attendance, and I hope that over the next couple of months, you dive in and find the same love for the new AdWords experience that I've found over the last couple. Thanks so much.